Hello, and welcome to today's episode of President Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. My name is Kahala, and I'm your host. Well, we're back, and we're circling back to a topic that we love to discuss here at President Politics Podcast, and that is love, Black love, marriage, and all those wonderful things. Well, we've already discussed how to kind of fix it when things aren't going so well. But today we're going to have a wonderful conversation about how to build prior to with the Premarital Architect. And so today we have a dear friend of mine and a pastor for God's people, Pastor Monty Weatherall.
Hello.
Hi, Pastor.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. Today's a great day.
It is. It is. And I'm so happy that you're here. We fought these schedules.
Yes.
Because
at first I was like, when is my turn? She had the whole world on here. But I knew it, then I got busy and you got busy.
Yes. And so, but I love that you're busy. You and First Lady and your church, you all are just blessing God's people and growing. And then your business is just, I see where you post, this new state, this new region. I have this many states out of the 50. It is just really growing. And it just really is something that I really care about because I love love. So like I'm a hopeless romantic. I just love love. I love Black love. And I just want people's marriages to like thrive, not survive, not be average, but just to be everything that God wants your marriage to be. And I know that sometimes it doesn't start off the way that it should. And so sometimes when the foundation is off, now some people are, I would call that lucky, that regardless of how the foundation starts, they can still manage to thrive. But then you really should work on that first.
Absolutely.
It should be conscious, calculated, because you should want it to work no matter what,
Absolutely.
Right? And so today we're going to talk about your ministry, how that came to you. Was it a dream? Was it an angel on a rock? Like, what was it that came to you and said, I'm going to start this because it needs to start here? So first, tell us all about yourself.
Well, Monty Weatherall, as you know, been in pastoral ministry 27 years, preaching ministry 31 years. Wow. And I'm going to tie it all back in a little while, how the Premarital Architect and doing relationship coaching ran parallel with that. But here in Belleville, Illinois, where the church is at with my wonderful wife and I and a great congregation. So that's Pastor Monty part. Then you got Monty Weatherall, the Premarital Architect, which I'm really excited about because I think I'm as passionate about both of them. You know, if the Lord told me to stop pastoring, I would be very comfortable in just my role as a premarital coach. Okay. So, if you want me, I can go back to that, really how this all started, right? I'm in college at McKendree University. Okay. And my Christian ethics professor, who later became my mentor, Pastor Tom Smith, we were doing the end of the semester talkbacks, and he says, Monty, I do believe God is calling you a pastor. He says, I believe if you pastor a church, you're going to affect a lot of people. He says, but I really think your oil flows with relationships. I watch you on campus. I watch people come to you. I watch people. I'm 20. I went to college late, like 6 years after high school. So I'm in my 20s. He said, I'm watching you talk to people about the relationships and marriages on campus. He says, I really think your oil flows in with relationships, marriages. So I didn't listen to him. I went into pastoring. But the love for relationships, you know, I was one of those. It was still there. I was one of those kids in junior high school. None of the girls wanted to date me because I was so good at counseling them about their relationships.
Like, you are not my counselor. I'm trying to be your girlfriend, sir.
I told my wife, I said, look, I ain't trying to counsel you. I ain't trying to be your friend. I'm looking for a wife.
That's right. I'm going to get it right this time.
Right. But so as early as, I'm sure some people who's watching this say, yeah, he used to talk to me about my little boyfriend. I'm talking about junior high school in East St. Louis, right? I've always had that flow for relationships. Started off in church, of course, dealing with marriages. And was very excited about that because, again, I knew I had a double calling. About 10 years after working with married couples, I grew tired of it, burnt out with it.
It's like family lawyers, divorce lawyers. We tire after a while.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah. What I kept seeing, though, was that couples were coming to me to discuss and try to renegotiate issues that they should have clearly discussed and defined and negotiated prior to the wedding. Mm-hmm. And they were so excited about the wedding that they didn't try to plan the marriage. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what? I don't want to work with married couples anymore. At Love Church, I work with very few married couples to this day because I said, you know what? We missed something. As pastors, even we miss something. You know, I'm kind of a romantic guy by nature anyway, and kind of that Cupid and love, and so I was so excited. Yeah, you know,
that way,
right? And so I was so excited because couples were together. Even as a pastor, I said, wait a minute, I gotta relay this foundation and make sure that we get them focused on the marriage, not just the wedding. Mm-hmm. And so that's how the Premarital Architect really came about. I was helping couples started coming to me because I did a podcast many years ago called Relationship Monday, asking me relationship questions. I'm pretty good at it.
I remember that.
Yeah,
because you used to post to Facebook too.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. And so then couples say, "Hey, Monty, Pastor Monty, I'm getting engaged. Would you do my premarital
counseling?"
I'm like, "Sure." Would you? How much you charge? I said, "I haven't really thought about it." Well, can we pay you whatever? I said, sure. And then after the day came another client couple came. I said, okay, God, I hear you. Let me go back to it.
I hear you. So many things that you just said resonated with me because as I previously stated, I love love. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm the mushy friend because you had my best friend, Kanisha Bryant. Mm-hmm. You had Dr. Bryant
on the show. Mm-hmm.
And I am the crier, right? My friends don't cry. I'm like I said, I'm the mushy person, but I am the one that has been crowned with the wife crown. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they are like, you encourage. So that's hard for a lot of people, a lot of women, sure. Especially professional, established, you know, women sometimes, you know, you are very supportive. You are all these things. And they saw that first in the way that I cared for my sick late husband and the things that went with that. And I remember I had a private practice at that time in addition to being a full-time public defender. And when he passed, I stopped doing divorces. I had divorces that were pending at the time. Of course, I'm never going to jeopardize my license or my integrity and be like, oh, you on your own. My husband has to pay you. But I made a vow when he died that I would never help another man or woman throw their spouse away. And so, because I just was like, that is just it was so hard for me to live in that moment and then know that it wasn't voluntary in that moment. And then I was just like, okay, I'll do child support and I will, you know, help people get out of jail and I'll help murderers and whoever. Right. Like, but I'm not doing any more divorces because I am just just that lovey-dovey, mushy kind of person. Sure. So then after his passing, all of these people kept coming to me about their marriage. Yeah. And I'm like, Jesus, no. I said, now look, now I will accept what has occurred. I will continue to press forward in you. Yeah. Right. I won't be angry. I will live for you. But these people have to stop coming to the widow, okay, with the little boy that's trying to build her life back, trying to do all these things. But they saw what they saw in his sickness, in his death. They saw me still get up in church and testify about how I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor seed begging bread. Yeah. Me and my son have never gone without. Like, they saw that. And so they're like, well, can you, my wife is tripping. Can you, and I told God, I said, please. And he was like, nope. Part of my investment in you is wife. Yeah. That is your oil. Yeah. Whether you like it or not. And I had given up on marriage. I was like, oh, I'll never get married again. I was like, nope. I said, because if you live, you're going to die. And I'm not going to that again. And I kept trying to put a period where God put a comma. Mm-hmm. And it just kept every song, every ministry, my pastor then, everybody's like, yeah, I think. So eventually I had to relent. And then, you know, the rest is history, which you just asked me how my kids are doing. I got all these other kids. Because God was like, no, like your ministry is wife. And so we're going to keep going that way, whether you want to keep going that way or not. So that's why I said I have to get Pastor Monty on to tell us about that part of his ministry. And just let's have a talk about how important it is to establish those things first.
Yeah, you know, again, if the foundation is not laid properly, you know, one of the things is almost comical to me now is not to the couples that's going through it, but, you know, we're going to get a divorce because of irreconcilable differences. You hear that all the time. You've dealt with that, right? You've litigated that. And I'm like, you guys had differences before you were married. You were different.
The red flags were there.
Yeah, but not just red flags, right? I wanna. This is something that I think couples, even married couples today, miss. Yes, you guys are different. You were different when you met each other. God probably wired you guys to be different. The differences can now make this thing mold together and work. They were irreconcilable because you didn't open your eyes. And you probably proposed and got married in the in-love period instead of opening up your eyes and saying, we are different. My wife and I are different. We communicate different. I'm a fast communicator. She's a thinker. I'm going to measure once and cut a couple times, throw the wood away, go buy some new wood. My wife is going to measure 7 times. And she's going to cut once, and she's going to get it right
that
every
one time.
single
That's
time.
Right.
And she lives for that, right? And so when we're making decisions in our home together as a team, because I think the highest form of marital oneness is agreement.
Amen.
Right? And so when we're trying to come into agreement, well, I'm going to know that probably I'm going to have reached a decision before she has prayed about it and reached a decision.
Okay.
Now, if I don't realize we're different, I'm going to be frustrated. Why are you taking all day to sign those papers? Right. And a lot of couples, it's in that pocket where now they're frustrated and they're arguing with one another and there's strife, all because you don't realize you made decisions differently. You respond to change differently. You have a different set of needs. It's all the differences. And until you learn how to manage those, respect those, and value those differences, you're going to continue to have turbulence, if not turmoil, in your relationship and your marriage.
Absolutely. So is that something that we can work on premaritally? Mm-hmm. So how do we do that?
Come see Monty Weatherall, the Premarital Architect.
Absolutely. Right. But generally.
Yeah. I think it's getting to know, really opening up your eyes. One of the things that I do, even not only as a premarital architect with any couple, I say pay attention to the stop signs. What I mean by the stop signs, there's going to come pivotal moments in your relationship while you're dating where you guys are going to have a stop sign moment and say, let's put the brakes. Let's look at each other for who we are. Not the hole in your head that you're trying to call apart. Not the snaggle tooth that you're trying to gap. No, look at me. I'm missing a tooth. Or am I, this is a stop sign moment. Let's look at it and have our eyes wide open and our hearts open and not be so blinded by our selfish wants. Because some people really just want the relationship and just want the wedding or just want to be married, men and women.
Absolutely.
That they don't open their eyes to what's right in front of them. That's what I would say in the dating period. Open your eyes. This is who I have. This is who I am. This is what I'm willing to accept. Right. This is what I'm willing to accept. And let's have those conversations.
So you have the conversation, and it's great if you all can agree.
Yeah.
But what if you don't?
If you don't agree, and again, let's go back to the stop sign. We're at the stop sign. You're going to have to make a tough decision. My wife, she's the best human being I know, right? Just period. And I told her that, so she knows that, right? There was a point in our relationship. I came from a family. We're having our family reunion this week, so I gotta reacclimate myself to what I'm about to say. Loud,
Okay.
Like to argue.
Okay.
No.
So loud and not like to laugh and joke, but loud and like to argue.
Yeah, that too. All that too.
Okay.
But we like to debate, and then the debates get heated. You know? Yeah. And so I come from that environment. She says, listen, if you're going to be with me, you're going to have to understand, I don't do strife like that.
Okay.
I'm not going to do all the arguing. We're not going to do all of the back and forth name calling. If you want to talk to me, Monty, talk to me. Okay. Don't disrespect me, because she's small, but she can go. She said, I don't like when I go there.
0 to 100 real quick?
Well, no, she could just, no, she doesn't do that. She'll be calm, but if you hit that nerve, right?
You're going to get it.
Yeah, right, because she's going to defend herself. And, you know, but she said, hey, if you're going to be with me, you got to understand that I'm not going to do that in a relationship. Now, here's the point of being willing to walk away. I love you, because I tried her, right? And I hung up the phone on her. Well, this is what I need. Click. So we were dating. So she leaves the house. I'm trying to call all day. I left like 15 crazy voicemail messages. I'm knocking on the door of the house, you know. And so she came outside the next morning, because I'm sitting in the yard at like 6 o'clock, you know. I told my best friend, man, I said, I blew it. He said, no, you didn't. I said, look, she's not one of these little low self-esteem chicks. Mm-hmm. She told me she's not going to do this. Mm-hmm.
And I tried it.
She came outside. She says, I told you when we started this journey, I'm not going to do that. And if you're going to be with me, you got to understand that I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. And so it was her willing to risk it all to make sure that her boundaries in that area, the differences that we have in that area, are going to be respected, or she was willing to walk away. And a lot of people don't do that.
I was going to say, sometimes that walking away is where it gets really sticky, if not impossible.
Yeah. Because
people feel that they are so invested. Even before marriage, they're like, oh my goodness, well, I'm 35 and I ain't got no kids. Or, you know,
we've been together 2-3 years,
yes,
whatever it is.
He makes X amount of dollars or whatever. Like or it's just love, right? Sometimes it's not something superficial. It's like, I really love this person. Yeah. But again, what did you say? That stop sign comes and the stop sign turns into a sinkhole.
Absolutely.
And you can't get over it. And so I think that is something that a lot of people struggle with.
Sure.
Is knowing that you need to walk away.
Yeah.
And then not doing that.
Yeah.
And then they end up with you anyway, because they're in counseling trying to fix it.
Yeah. Well, yes, they try to come to me. And I'm like, no, you got to come to me engaged with a wedding date set. I want to get you on the road to marriage. They try to come to me for relationship therapy. I do very little of that because a lot of times by this time there's some bad habits that set in. And often then that's why I don't do married couples, because often bad habits have set in. There's a lot of renegotiating what I call this unwritten relationship contract. We got to renegotiate the contract now, because that's all it is, right? You know, you told me to be here at 11 o'clock. That's the contract. I got to be here, right? And so a lot of people have now signed these unwritten contracts. I'm going to teach you how to treat me, to talk to me any way you feel like it, instead of talking to me like I want to be spoken to. But we signed that contract. So they come to me trying to renegotiate the contract. Talk to me better. Take me out. Boom, 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 boom. I said, no, it's been 10 years of that. I can't undo all that. Go to somebody else. And I'm really good at it. I just don't have the patience for it, Kahala, at all.
So you have good referrals. So you're like,
I have good referrals.
I will send
a couple of your guests, I'll be referring them to a couple of your guests. Fans guests.
Be like, you know what? I have a pastor friend. I really trust him. He's really good and stuff like this. Because I don't have the patience.
Absolutely. Don't have patience for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So they come to you.
Yes.
A ring and a date.
Yes. Yes.
What does that look like?
Come to me, a ring and a date. I give them, first of all, we have a 30-minute consultation. Okay. Well, I hear about them, ask them 7 pivotal questions. I can typically tell within the first 2 or 3 questions if I'm going to take them on or not.
Okay.
Typically.
I love that, because it's like, just because you come and get a consultation doesn't mean you're going to get my time.
Absolutely. Typically, on any given week, I'm probably turning down about 5 to 7 couples. That it has to be a couple that I know that I genuinely like, and they genuinely like me.
You?
Because we're going to spend 7 weeks together. Oh, wow. If you're local in the St. Louis area, at the end of our 7-week session, you're going to go out to dinner with my wife and I. We're going to break bread, sign. I actually build a contract. So they're going to sign this. Ours is not unwritten. It's absolutely written. And they're going to sign it. And then I'm going to give them a certificate. If they have which I strongly suggest for them to find a mentoring couple.
Yes.
And I'll take their
very important.
Yeah, take their mentoring couple out. And so we're going to be together 7 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. I need to make sure we like each other.
Yes.
And then from there, if they've been married before, we have 15 subjects that we cover.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Very thorough, because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I had a couple come to me many years ago. They were so in love and do our premarital, Pastor Monty, and they sat in my office and I had my little sheet out that I was going to do. And I realized after they called me back to their home about 7 months after they were married that I missed something in those sessions.
Okay.
And had I had covered that subject, I wouldn't be sitting in their living room helping them now straighten out. So I had to come up with a game plan. Okay. So I have 15 subjects for one or both who've been married before. If you've never been married before, neither one of you, then we have 13 subjects that we cover. Okay. And we deal from everything from your marital readiness. The first thing I want to know, if you guys got married today, right now, what's going to be your likelihood of success? High, medium, or poor? Okay. Right. I've had.
Do people actually say poor?
They don't say it because I survey them. I give them
okay.
a survey.
Because I'm like, who is going to sit there with their fiance and say, actually, I think we have a really poor chance of.
No, but what they do say, there's one of the questions I ask them: what's the status of your relationship? Is it smooth and steady, or if it's quite rocky? But sometimes I have the male may say, it's smooth and steady. We good.
And she like,
what relationship are you in?
No, sir. That is not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, and so we just systematically go through everything from in-laws. Because people say, you know what? We getting married. I'm not marrying them. I'm not marrying them. I'm marrying you. Lies.
Everyone who says, I'm not marrying you marrying just me, you're not marrying my people, lies.
You're married.
From the pit of hell.
Everybody. So I want to know how you feel about your future in-laws. Tell me the truth. You know, what is your spirituality like? Talk to me about your spiritual community. Important. I need to know that. Even sometimes, because Christians, of course, we know the Christian vocabulary. Do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. So we know that. But
God has put together.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let's go under the hood and look at that. I know y'all go to the same church, but do y'all really have the same theological beliefs? Do you believe in tithing? Because she does. Now, if you don't and she does, or I've had it where he did and she didn't. But that's going to become a problem in the marriage when you're talking about giving 10% of your gross or net. And someone said, no, I don't want to do that. Exactly. So we look at all of that. And if you're not on the same page, we get a game plan to get you on the same page.
Okay. So that's good to know, because it's not just you're not on the same page, you're done, but it is a conscious effort from both you and hopefully them to come up with a strategy to get you where God wants you to be.
Oh, absolutely. Because, one of the things I tell them, that's why I scrutinize so hard when I'm taking them on doing the consultation, because once I sign you on, I'm committed to this. And I'm not one of those guys that's going to try to break you up. No, I'm trying to keep you all together. Right. And so, no, we're going to work. We're going to do the hard work. We sign up for 7. And at some point, I may have to ask my clients, okay, guys, we're in week 3. And I always tell you it's going to be one difficult session. But we've had 3 difficult sessions in week 3.
Right. We only got 4 left. People.
So I say, okay, can we agree? Okay. And of course, it's not just about money. I'm in business, to make money. But I think what's most important is your marriage.
Absolutely.
Can we agree to go 2 or 3 extra weeks? And 100% of the time, for all the years I've been doing this, everyone says yes. Everyone says yes. Because now, after 3 weeks, they trust me now. And so we can continue our journey.
Through that together.
Yeah.
So, in a vacuum, okay, we're 3 sessions in. Things are going well. We're not the people that are like, oh, it's not. So you go through all the way. How do we end this? Like how are we feeling? Like, what are we doing as we end the 7 weeks before we go to dinner with your first lady? Like, what is that?
Yeah, well, again, and they have They have some materials, right?
Homework? Okay.
No, I give them the homework. So I go 75 minutes. The typical coach or counselor will go 50 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
I go 75 minutes because a couple of things. We're doing the work in my office, but we're also building this relationship contract.
Now, are you remote as well?
Yes.
Okay.
54 cities, 37 states.
Okay.
98% of my clients are virtual.
Okay.
Not as many local, which that was a product of COVID, praise God. And so it helped me to really go across the country. And so,
well, that's good. And see, I knew that, but I wanted our listening and viewing audience to know.
Thank you.
Because whether you were in Dubai or Dallas, you can go past it.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. And now I'll just adjust to your time zone and we go to work. Okay. So, so we have some materials. We have a booklet that we walk through. And so at the end of the book, then we'll start talking about, okay, what are the next steps? Finding your marriage mentor, continue to get training. We get mentors and training for so many things, but not for our marriage. And so I want to give them a game plan for their relationship and marriage. And then I say, okay, I call my honey. I say, all right, babe, can you do me a favor? Can you book Maggiano's? We go to Maggiano's our last dinner.
Okay.
And we could have done Ruth Chris and all the places. I don't want to keep naming people. They don't sponsor you yet. But we decided to go to Maggiano's because that was the scene of our first date.
Okay.
And we also had our wedding reception there. Okay. And so we said we could take you to fancier places, nicer places, but this is significant
special to us. Absolutely.
And so, we have a great marriage and we're going to wish you guys the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we sign up. We have 7 great, I'm such an optimist. We have 7 great sessions. We go to dinner with you and First Lady. And then we get our certificate and we move forward. So we want to, I think it's so important because I just really feel that so many times, well, let's circle back to the foundation is not properly laid. And it's so hard to build a house on quicksand. I mean, we won't even say gravel or rock. We won't even give it that much stability or credit. And it just seems that in today's society, like we are losing ground on family. Yeah. We're losing ground on marriage. The enemy is busy. And so what is I know we talked about that a little bit before in terms of the enemy being the culprit.
Yeah. So I tell couples, not only as the premarital architect, but now as Pastor Monty, that you got to realize the devil hates marriages.
He does.
And he hates family.
Steal, kill, and destroy. His own agenda.
Marriages. And I tell them, I want you to hear this again. He hates marriages. I don't care how long you've dated. Some people come to me, they've dated 10 years. And it changed once the covenant of marriage happened because he hates marriages. I said, well, let me tell you why. So you go back to the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. Then God blessed them. He just didn't bless the man. He blessed the man and the woman. He blessed them. And he says, be fruitful and multiply. Our first calling to take this blessing, this empowerment for success, to take this blessing, this anointing through which he's favored us. He says, the first thing I want you to do with it is procreate, is to build a family. Now, that family is to build a family. Now, you're going to start in Eden, Garden of Eden. Then the rest of the world is full of wilderness. I believe the plan was before the fall was to now have families, and populate the rest of the earth to make it look like Eden, which was a representative of God's kingdom.
Yes.
Now, if we're supposed to populate the earth and make the rest of the earth look like God's kingdom, which we're supposed to do as Christians,
absolutely,
as a family, why wouldn't Satan try to break that up when he knows the master plan? Yeah, he's cunning. And if you look at society today, period, and all the different routes that's happening, what's happening and is leading to so many things is the basic breakup of the family. The male and the female in the house raising the kids. The devil hates marriages. So that's why he has this schism between men and women. and now fatherless homes and all of this, because it's stopping the ultimate plan of God.
And your ministry in general, your church, your family, and your special ministry, your special oil with the Premarital Architect, I really believe in your own way and in your family's own way is really helping restructure and rebuild it from the beginning, though. Yeah. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic, because you're like, well, how are you restructuring and rebuilding when it's not built yet, because it's premarital? But you have to be a more of an open-minded, more creative thinker, because just because the covenant isn't there yet, that's the ultimate goal for what God intended. And so as a result, you going to the drawing board, redoing the blueprint, then continues, what did you say? Families, having families, building families, loving families. And so I just think that is truly amazing and a blessing to so many people. Like I said, I love to watch your posts about new cities and new states and new families and all the people that you are helping to be able to thrive.
Sure.
So much of what, as a people, it's the survival, right? And just in society, the survival. And I am looking to thrive, right? 2024 and beyond. Like, my double for my trouble, beauty for my ashes, my ladder will be greater. Like 3 scriptures that I literally rebuilt a broken life into a flourishing life. And so there are so many areas in all of our lives that we're still surviving.
Sure.
And so that is the purpose of this platform, has always been, I want God's people, I want communities and individuals to prosper and thrive in every area of their lives. And for me, I'm just very family oriented. Yeah. And like I said, I'm just really mushy-lovey kind of person. Yeah. And so that marriage really means something to me. Yeah. And family really means something to me. Like my children, I just cannot, and you know that in your wife, I mean, children are just everything. And so to be able to build strong families from the beginning. I'm telling you, that's what I'm most passionate about. Let's get it from the beginning. So we won't set in bad habits that sometimes takes a lot of prayer, fasting, and a lot of other things to reroute bad habits. Absolutely. And so I'm like, let's get it in before. Let's lay the proper foundation before. And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people get married and they don't think that the premarital, you don't do anything without a game plan, right? Exactly. You got to have a game plan. Exactly. Yeah. And so many people don't, but it's not just a marriage thing with a lot of people. You pick a major without much thought. Come on. Right? The job is just about the dollars, right? And then you get in it and you're the most miserable person there ever was, but you're stuck because you got kids to feed. Even business relationships, right? You want the business, you want whatever, and so you don't really check your new business partner's references. Yeah. You don't really look into whether or not that's a good place for that business.
And don't you think we should check our potential partner's references?
Absolutely.
Social media is a wonderful thing.
It is. Google.
Come on.
The circuit clerk's case management records.
All of it.
I mean, hey.
I'm like, $50, you can find all you need to know about a person.
And what used to be so funny in my 10 years as the clerk, like people would like avoid me. Yeah. Because, well, I know you. No, I really don't. I really don't know that you have a case, but thank you for letting me know. But I really could know if that was, no, that's not what I spend my day doing. Yeah. Going and seeing whether or not you have a case. But no, literally, you need to do your homework. Do
your homework.
In 2024,
and it's so easy
honey,
now.
You can't be out here just not doing your homework.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people do little small things like look at their picture on social media and just blow it up.
Just pinch it a little bit.
Yeah, just bring it up. Why is there butter on top of the counter? Midday. Like, okay, you got an eating disorder.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that, but that's a clue to you. Do you want to deal with that?
Exactly.
Oh, your closet is not as tidy. And if you know you're a super duper neat freak and they got clothes on the floor, Just scroll up, blow it up. Now you can make a decision.
Yeah. And sometimes it really is that simple.
It's that simple.
But we make it so complicated. We do. We make it so complicated, and then it gets more complicated. The further you get into it, it's more complicated when you're not married.
Yeah.
It's more complicated the more children you have. It's more complicated the more homes and cars and debt and just so many things. And so then you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Right. Then you're stressed out and you're arguing and it's just so much. And then you end up with irreconcilable differences.
There you go. And because you wouldn't look at them. I guess I'm going to plant my flag on that hill, if so to speak, because you chose to either ignore them or compromise your core self. Absolutely. Just for the sake of the relationship. Right? And it's okay not to ignore them and give this person a choice. If you want to be with me, go back to my wife with the no strife and arguing. If you want to, she put her,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
To this day, married 10 years, dated 2.5 before that. We've only had 4 arguments.
You can count on Lord have mercy.
Oh, I can even do you one better. The last argument we had was December 23rd, 2020. And I remember that and I started them all, by the way. So
it's you.
It was my fault. I'm just telling you, it was my fault. But I remember December 23rd, 2020, because we have a Christmas Eve and it's our annual family come over.
Okay.
And now we're 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and now we're tired. But we know family is coming over in 8 or 9 hours. You got to get the house together and things like that. But now we've had thousands of conversations. So we're not one of those couples, we never argue. You never argue. No, we never argue, but we have thousands of conversations.
The communication is so key. That's
it. And she taught me, talk to me like I'm a human, like you love me and respect me. We can disagree. I'm going to do something you don't like. Let's just talk about it, and vice versa.
Communication, as we get ready to close, that is an excellent ending point because, and that's in any relationship, but particularly in marital and romantic relationships, because so many times a simple conversation could have solved it.
That's it.
You listening, not just, did you hear me? Yeah. Like, I know your ears work.
Yes.
Do you see me?
Yes.
My heart, my cares, my concerns, my hurt. Yeah. Or are you just listening? Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
And what we do, Kahala, what we fail to do is when we see that our partner, our spouse, our husband or wife are just what I call shuffling the conversation along. Yeah, I hear you. We should take the next logical step. Now, don't fly off the handle. You're not listening to me. No, say, okay, let's double back, babe.
Note to self.
Yeah. Let's double back, babe, because this is important to me. Mm-hmm. Did you really hear what I just said? Yeah, I heard you. Can you tell me what I just said? Because I want to make sure you really felt me on that. Mm-hmm. See, now we're going to reset. Mm-hmm. Okay. So since you didn't, because I understand you're busy, you're tired. It's 8 o'clock. We're ready to go to bed. Mm-hmm. Let me just restate what I just said. And couples don't do enough of that. Before we know it, they're gone off the handle and upset. Mm-hmm. Instead of, let's lock in. It's what I call, let's take the next logical step in communication. Let's just settle down. Remember, and I think you're going to like this one, what I see in a lot of couples, they treat each other like you're the defense attorney and I'm the prosecutor. And that's how they flow.
That's so funny to me because literally I was a defense attorney. I married a prosecutor. Yeah. So then
that's how they treat each other in these relationships. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to let my case out. I'm going to have it all laid out. Here's my opening arguments. Here's my closing. Objection, I object. All of this. No. We love each other. And we have the same goal, to have a thriving, joyful marriage. Yeah. How do we get there? Even when we're not seeing eye to eye. Mm-hmm. Kim and I, sometimes we may start over here when we got to make a decision. Buy a house, buy a car, big ones, right? Mm-hmm. But if we keep respecting each other, honoring each other.
And keep communicating.
Part of that, that's why all this is communicating.
Yes.
We'll get there to where we want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that, again, like I said, that is very important because, again, in any relationship, it can be with your parents. Mm-hmm. It can be with your children, right? Yeah. I know a lot of times, especially in the Black community, it was, I said what I said and whatever. But I think that still reigns true. But I think we're getting to a place that we want to communicate fully with with everyone. Now, I don't owe you an explanation, right? But with my children, I try to communicate, especially my oldest, right? Because I don't want you to feel that you can't communicate with me. Like, I don't want to feel like, oh, well, mom's a brick wall and dad's a brick wall, because then who are you talking to? And what are you talking to them about?
Yeah.
And so I think no matter what relationship, communication is key. And I've just seen for 46 years the irretrievable breakdown of so many relationships because the communication is not there.
And not only with the relationship, but how now, especially our children, deal with other people outside of our home. You know, your little king, he's going to be a full-grown king, and he's going to have to deal in college, and he's going to deal on the job. And if we don't train them, I wish I had the skill that you have now. When I was raising my daughter, I had to talk to her. This was maybe 2 weeks ago. And I had to say, baby girl, I owe you an apology. I said, when you were little, I told you don't talk back. Don't you get smart with me. And don't talk to me like that. Basically telling you to suppress your feelings. I'm the dad. You listen to me. And I said, I owe you an apology. Because now I've seen the result of that when you have to deal with conflict as an adult. And had I allowed you to express your feelings to me, like I do with my granddaughter. Now, grandparents are the best because we can make up all the stuff we did wrong. Now, with my little 6-year-old granddaughter, and she's having her 6-year-old moment, I get on my knees. My knees hurt. I'm 51, but I still get on my knees down to her level and say, come talk to Granddad, baby girl Junior. Come talk to Granddad. And now she can tell Granddad what's going on, and we can communicate. And that's, in my generation, we didn't have those skills like you have now. And I wish I had that, because not just for our relationship, but how our children are going to relate to other people outside of our home.
Absolutely. And that's what they're going to have to do. And that's, what they said, we stretch the bow back.
Come on.
And so when we're stretching it back, we have to make sure we're stretching it back the right way. So when we launch them, they're good coworkers.
Yes.
Are good bosses.
Yes.
They're good spouses.
Yes. Yes.
They are good parents.
Yes.
Right? They're good citizens.
Yes.
They're good people. Because what you're pulling back with absolutely makes 100% of the difference in how they launch forward.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to good spouses, right? Because that's where our passion is in this area of romantic relationships. And a lot of times how we train them to communicate with us is how they're going to take into their romantic relationships.
Absolutely.
And if we're not careful, it will be so easy now to transfer yet another generational curse. Onto the next family, because we didn't give them the right communicative tools.
Exactly. And so again, because I have 5 and 9, so I'm less about how I want you to be in a relationship with my 5-year-old daughter or whatever. But so that's more of a model, right?
Absolutely.
The model she sees me and her father. But that 16-year-old, you see what happened here? You will not do that. You see what happened here? You will absolutely do that. And so those are the things, because my daughter-in-law is not going to be sitting at Thanksgiving clenching her fist under the table like, I swear I could slap his mama. She sees, and she's like, that is why I deal with what I deal with in my house, and I could pick this plate up and slap his mama. Okay, so I'm just like, I will not be that mother-in-law. Like, you will be great. William will be great. Caitlin will be great. And your spouses will come to me and say, you did such a great job with Anthony, William, and Caitlin, and I'm going to have a tear in my eye, and I'm going to be like, yes, I tried my best. And it was hard because look at, one good thing about your daughter is, like, a lot of the culture that I deal with Anthony.
Sure.
The social media and the influences. I'm glad we didn't have that, right? I'm 40, you're 51, I'm 46. Like, we didn't have that. And so trying to raise a young king in this, but you're the mom, you're the dad, like, you don't know anything. But he is, one thing I will say about Anthony, he is very respectful and very receptive. So I thank God for that. Yeah. Because I'm just like, you will grow up and you will be everything that God intended for you. Shall be mighty in the land according to his word. And if your dad and I don't do our part, then we are remiss. And we will be held to account for that.
That's right. Yeah, and I think all parents should really have that motto, to live by. Because again, I think the goal, even at that age, you're still planting little seeds to prepare them. That's going to be a day where you're not going to be under this roof, and you're going to have to learn how to deal in that world. Absolutely. In a world where everybody don't like you. Some people couldn't care less.
Could not. Could not.
And so we got to prepare them for that.
Absolutely. So you have clearly so many skills and tools in your box that men and women need premaritally. So how, as we close, how do we reach you so that way everybody can reach out and get what they need?
Sure. You can email me at thepremarital@gmail.com. And let's just start right there. You can now, if you're following me on Facebook, and you can follow me. Everything is Monty Weatherall all across social media, YouTube, Facebook, all of everything, Instagram, and just you can inbox me, DM me, say, hey, I want to schedule a time to speak with you. And we'll set it up. We'll have a 25 to 30-minute consultation. We'll get that ball rolling.
And the ball rolling is what we need.
Yeah.
Thank you for all that you do, Pastor. You and First Lady Weatherall and your church, you're a blessing to the world. So don't ever, and I know you have that godly confidence and you know what God gave you. And I love to see it in the way you speak of your ministry and your family. But I know it's not lost on you, but I don't ever want it to be lost on you, the impact that you're having on the world.
I receive it.
So we thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for coming on.
It is my honor. It's really an honor.
Will you come back?
Anytime.
Thank you.
And it won't take as long.
Okay. But I don't know, because we love busy here. Like we love businesses and ministries and people to be booked and busy and all over the world doing what God has for them. So thank you so much.
It's my honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in today to Pros in Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and you'll join us again next week. But in the meantime, please like, love, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.